What happens is you have too many times you have our elected officials, they get in there, they forget who the boss is. And the boss is us, the people. And I pledge to you that I will only serve 2 to 3 terms, because that's what true democracy is. You gotta be willing, all right, to be that citizen legislator, all right, and, you know, be in that position, and then give up that power to someone else. Let someone else have that shot. All right, and as your city councilor, I will do that. I will work hard for you. I have no axes to grind. No one's hands are in my pocket. And the most important thing is I ask for your vote as your city councilor, September 27th. Thank you.
Thank you again, candidates. And I want to remind our candidates, if they can, to just pull the mic away so that we're not going to get that popping sound. All right, right into the questions about jobs. Big issue for this community, big issue for the nation. Let's see if we can tackle it together. We all know, and this first question is 3 parts. We're going to start with Meredith. Then we're going to go to Marty. Then Craig. Doug. Frank. John and Stephanie. We all know someone who is out of work or who is working twice as hard to hold on to the job that he or she has. While low youth employment here in this community is a serious concern. What will you do to preserve jobs in Dorchester and bring in new employment opportunities for our residents, especially our youth? Meredith.
All right. That's a good question. What can I do to preserve jobs that are here, keep them, bring new ones in, and offer youth jobs? One of the things we have to focus on, that we have a problem, we have a lot of micro enterprises in Dorchester, and a lot of times we don't give them enough support to keep their doors open, to keep going. We have programs that are there to help them get that beginning, that initial start, and after they get the start, we leave them, we forget about them. The programs go to the next person. So we need to focus on continuing service, provider service. Once we get them in starter, we got the doors open, help them keep their doors open. A lot of times that's our problem here in the city of Boston and in Dorchester. We open up micro enterprises and then they close within a year. And also creation of jobs in Dorchester.
Okay, so, right, okay. We're still warming up a little bit here, okay? And I just want to say, okay, so this is 3 parts. So we're going to let Meredith is going to answer 2 more questions. I'll pass the mic, okay? That was the first of this 3-part section. Next, Meredith. Do you support the city's current policy regarding residency? Do you believe that it should be a condition of employment or should it be bargained with the unions?
We only get a minute for that? All right. So, yes, if you want to work for the city of Boston, you should live in the city of Boston. Because if you say you work for us and we are paying you your salary, and you're taking that salary outside of the city of Boston, outside of Dorchester to another community, then where's the vested interest of putting money back into the economy? And I want to say one of the things I support is shopping where you live. Giving money to the businesses where you live, don't always go out. So that's one of the things why I think if you work for the city of Boston, you should reside in the city of Boston. And the other part was negotiating. Well, I believe there should always be negotiation. I think everybody should have a seat at the table. I do that. But I think that, having vested interest in your city is very important. His vested interest in your city and your district is very important.
the last question of this three-part question around jobs. How would you assure that we meet or exceed the Boston Plan? And for those of you who are not familiar with the Boston Plan, that's the city has set goals for development projects and aims to ensure that 50% of the folks working on these projects are Boston residents, 25% are minorities, and 10% are women. So our question is, how would you assure that we meet or exceed the Boston Plan numbers with respect to large and small development projects here in Dorchester, especially on all of the UMass building projects that are planned?
Now, one of the things that we've been working on and we've had conversations about in the representative's office is changing how they do the count. Because right now, the way the count is set up, I am female of color, and I live in Boston. And on a developer's list, I count 3 times. I'm only one person. That's the first thing we need to work on, is making sure that we revamp that, where I'm not counted 3 times on a developer's list. So that's the focus I think we need to work on, and making sure, because the numbers don't work out if we don't change that, and I think that's what we need to focus on.
Marty, that first question, I'll just read it very quickly so to refresh your recollection. We all know someone who is out of work, who's working twice as hard to hold on to the job that she or he has, while low youth employment is a serious concern. What will you do to preserve jobs in Dorchester, bring in new employment opportunities for our residents, especially our youth?
Well, it's a complex issue. It's something that I've been talking about the whole time I've been out there campaigning. And it's one that comes down to a couple of things. One, we need to reduce the cost of doing business in Boston. I think that the city needs to be fair with, and I'm not talking about just businesses, I'm talking about keeping people in Boston as far as taxes go. I think we need to be upfront with the budget. As I've said before, I would like to expose what we do with the budget on an online forum, which I will introduce when elected. That will show you what we're spending our money on. And then we can go and look for all of the areas that we're spending too much money, such as wasting on transportation and other areas.
Do you support the city's current policy regarding residency? Do you believe that it should be a condition of employment, or should it be bargained with the unions?
I think we have too many people in Boston that are unemployed. I think it should be required. I think that we have a lot of people in Boston who are able, willing, and ready to work, ready to roll up their sleeves, ready to go to work tomorrow, and I think that we should have the requirement. Do I believe that we should go back on residency requirements that we've already made conditions for as far as contracts go? No, I do not. But I think going forward we should require that. We have too many unemployed people.
Three-part question. How would you assure that we meet or exceed the Boston Plan numbers with respect to large and small development projects in Dorchester, especially on all the UMass building projects that are planned?
Well, obviously making sure that the companies that we do work with are employing, as we said, Boston residents, and making sure that they keep up their end. We need to make sure, again, we have too many unemployed people. We need to make sure, no matter what we do, that people are getting back to work in our city. If we can't get back to work, there will be no business in the city. There'll be no people in the city, and we need people for those businesses. So I will do anything in my power to make sure that those are upheld.